which standards do you set? Like, for example, personally, my standards in terms of long distance relationship is never. It can never happen. I can never put myself in a long distance relationship. That is a standard that I have set. No matter what happens, I can fall in love with someone who is far away from me, but that relationship cannot go anywhere if it has to remain in a long distance because it won't work. With the generation that we have today, a generation that don't want to hear or to talk about the truth, long distance relationship doesn't work. To a bigger percentage of 95%, they don't work these days. And if anyone is working for somebody, you are lucky. But again, remember that we have people who basically live on lies and live on pretense, a lot of pretense out there where people think, you think you're loving somebody, you think somebody loves you, but they just do that to please you. That is not our topic today, guys. The topic today is about standards. How do you set standards? And what are your standards as a person, like the person I'm talking to here? What does it take for a man to sleep with you? I just want to go straight into the point without, beating about the bush. What does it take for a man to sleep with you? What does it take to sleep with a woman if you're a man? What does it take to spend a night in a man's house or a woman's house? Do you have standards? What does it take for you to give another man, a stranger, whom you've never been with? You just met them on the road, or maybe you meet them in a certain conference. You're going somewhere to do some things. You're representing your company. You've been sent somewhere, maybe to work or to deliver some things. Or maybe you're going to work in somebody's house, like a saloonist, right? Somebody calls and then you're the one who's been sent to go and attend to somebody's hair, but at their place. And while you are there, you find a guy there, maybe a driver, that home's the driver, or maybe you find the son to that guy. And what does it take? What standards do you have for you to give that guy your number? What standards do you have as a man for you to feel that this woman, I need their number? Do you have standards? Do you have some things, rules that governs you in the process of starting a relationship? Do you have them? Most of us don't. And guys, if you're watching this video and you like it, why don't you just give it a thumbs up by tapping that screen, guys? You see, guys, 98% of all of us, 65 of us who are watching this video now, don't have standards. Amanda, thank you for the gift. Thank you for joining my team. Like, if today I would ask you that within a blink of an eye, tell me what it takes for you to give a man your number, you won't figure it out. You'll be thinking like, he has to be a working class, he has to be tall, dark, and handsome. You don't have standards. What defines standards, and how do you create those standards? Yesterday, I was listening to a certain celebrity here, or a certain, lady here who's known by a lot of Kenyan people. She's traveled from Germany and she's been in Kenya for around, I think, 7 days, and she traveled back to Germany. You guys know her. I don't want to mention names because I don't do that. And she was asked that, how long do you think you should take before you sleep with a man? And she was like, for me, I cannot go more than 2 weeks before I sleep with a man. And then the the guy asked her, like, why? And then her answer was, I cannot waste time with a man who is just a man on trousers, but down there she's got nothing to prove that he's a man. All right? So, I don't always judge, and I love people who know their standards. That's her standard. So you see, when you want to judge her like, only 2 weeks, you are wrong. When you want to also start to practice 2 weeks, you are wrong. Because you haven't defined your standard. She has. She had taken her time to define what standard she has to accept or to be in a relationship. She's been in those relationships and she's realized that sometimes she wastes her time for too long. And then the moment when they get to, get physical, she realizes that I was wasting my time with somebody who's got just trousers and nothing is inside that trouser. That is her standard. My question is, what is your standard? And she was so confident. She said, she did not even think. She said, 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I should be putting my pants down. What's your standard? I don't want to define for you your standards. And nobody should ever define for you your standards. You must have a standard that is defined by you, and you must have a reason as to why you are defining that standard. Always Blessed says, my standard is marriage. And that is what your standard is. I have been coaching a lady here, and I'm proud to say that, and she's here watching with us, who's had that standard that Always Blessed is talking about. Her standard has been that I am not going to allow any man on me until I get married. And she has been that faithful with herself, and she's been with herself, and that standard has made her to realize the man that she needed to put away from her, and God kept her to see the man that she needed to see. What is your standard? I don't want to define for you your standard. I don't want to define it. I don't want to say that, what, as a woman, you have to be like this, you have to be like that. No, you have to define your standard. Why am I saying that you have to define your standard? Sorry, guys. We have a world that we have a world where people have got opinion. Everyone wants to have an opinion on how you live your life. But this is what I want to say. If you leave church to define for you your standards, you will always mess. If you leave the world to define for you your standards, you will always mess. If or when you leave your parents to define for you your standards, you will always mess. And I will tell you why. You see, if you have a child, or if even those who have, I know all of us have grown and you've matured in a family where you are told, you don't touch this glass. And the glass is left on the table. You are told, don't touch that glass. Your mother tells you, don't touch that glass. I'm going to the market. I will come back. Have you ever realized that glass, the glass that you've been told not to touch, is the only glass that your mind will always be thinking on how to touch it? You will find every way on how you can touch that glass without your mom knowing. Every time you're told not to, eat sugar, that's the time that you will try as much as possible to find a way on how you can eat the sugar without your parents knowing. So what am I trying to say? When you tell people don't do this, that is what they do. That is what they always try. They always want. That is how we are created. And that's why when Eve was told, don't eat this fruit, and Adam also was told, don't eat this fruit, Eve tried to eat and see what happened. Somebody told Eve that, you know what? There's knowledge in eating this fruit. And that's the same way when you put standards and you give a woman standards to follow, the next thing, what is going to happen is a man is going to come in her life and convince her otherwise because she doesn't believe in the standards that has been set on her. So you leave somebody to set standards that they believe in. One day somebody asked me that, what do you say about women drinking alcohol? And I said, why is she drinking alcohol? What made her to drink alcohol? My standard is, I have never drunk, I have never tasted alcohol, I will never taste, I will never use it, and therefore I cannot have a woman who is drinking. But then, there are women who are drinking. Should I judge them? Should I say they should not be married? No. There are men who only want the women they can drink with. There are men who are so okay with women who drink. When I bring standards and I start telling people that, you know what, that woman, I know women who drink but have succeeded in their marriages and have stayed in their marriage for years. And there's this woman who is praising Jesus Christ and worshiping every time, speaking in tongue, and can't stay in one marriage. Standards. You must define your own standard. When you leave the church to define it for you, you will never prosper. When you leave the society to define it for you, it will never work. When you leave people to define the standards for you, it will never work. Define your standards. Find a way to know who you are. Find a way to know what you want. Find a way to know what culture you come from. Find a way to know what beliefs you follow. Then use the beliefs, use the church teachings, use your culture, use your parents' advice to define your standards. Do not allow anyone to define standards for you. Instead of believing in those standards, you will be fighting with those standards. And somebody like me will come and will tell you that, what are you talking about? That your mom told you that you have to get married before you have sex? Oh, what are you talking about? That the church told you that for you to live with a man, you've got to wed? What a shit is that? For what reason? You have seen so many people who have done weddings and in fact expensive wedding. Where are they? You know so and so, right? Yeah. They had a wedding. We attended. You were there with me. Where are they today? You will be convinced because it is not you who set that standard. It was set by either your parents or the church. So somebody will convince you to start questioning yourself. Is it mom who is right? Or is it John? Is it the church that is right? Or is it my friends? But if you believe in your standards, guys, whatever you define by yourself, nobody can take you out of. So what am I telling you guys? I'm saying you need to sit down and define your standards. Those standards that have been given to you by us coaches, those standards that have been given to you by, the society where you come from, I'm going to tell you, you will fight those standards. You are going to fight with those standards and you're not going to prosper. It's not going to take you anywhere because you will be fighting with them. You'll be feeling like, oh, why should I do this? You know why most ladies lose it in colleges? They have been given standards from their tender age. Their parents told them, if I find you with a man, now you are going to school. You've been here with me. We've been protecting you. We've been strict with you. Now you are going to college. If I hear anything about you and men, I will cut your neck. Then you leave her at the college. And then her girls, the peers, start to define for her the standards. The moment her roommate leaves house and goes out with a guy and comes back with a present, she started to question herself. Just yesterday, she came back with iPhone Pro Max. Today, she's here with a laptop. The next day, she's there with some money. Then you're asking yourself, but my parents told me that I should never move closer to men. But this, my roommate, the guy that she has, is buying her stuffs. So men are good people. Why were my parents telling me not to be near men? So because you did not set your standard, you did not learn on how relationship works. Your parents were so strict with you, and they were so strict that you could not even receive a letter from a man. And they were so strict, they never told you, I love you. They never told you how beautiful you are. They were just strict and telling you, books, 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 go, sit, did you do your homework? Blah. Nobody told you you're beautiful. Nobody told you I love you. Nobody called you honey. Nobody called you darling. Nobody even called you sweetheart. Nobody bought you a present. Your parents used to buy, but you felt entitled because these are my parents. There were no surprises. Then you meet Jonte, you meet Kevo, you meet Deno, and they start to shower you with some sweet names. Baby, babe, honey, darling, sweetheart. You're wondering, why was mom saying that men are bad? I've never been told I'm beautiful, but he's telling me. I've never been surprised. He's surprising me on my birthday. Before you know it, you're pregnant. You're carrying Jonte's baby. You're carrying Kevo's baby. And when you try to tell Kevo, he tells you that you've got to remove it. It has to be terminated. I cannot take it. Standards. Standards were defined by another person. Your parents defined your standards. You never defined your own standards. And that's why you are going down. You're crying. You've messed your life because you are not allowed to define your standards. Most of the people today have messed because of standards. People have gotten job through putting down their pants. I know women who have gotten jobs because they thought they didn't have powers. They thought they couldn't go through past an interview. They thought that there was no any alternative. The only one that was remaining was to strip down your pants and let that man sleep with you to give you a job. Standards were never defined. When you were in school, you were told, study hard, because once you study hard, you will get a good job. So in your head, the standard that has been set in your head is after good studies and you get your degree, you've got to get a job. So you're trying to find a job you cannot find, but the standard in your head is you must find a job. Then you come to my office and I tell you that, you know what, you're good, the interview was good, but the problem is, we cannot, there's so many things, you got to do something before we give you this job, because there are so many people and you have to at least, act better than them for you to get this job. The standards that were set on your head was after school, job. After job, a good life. Now John is telling you that for that good life in the future that is looking out there, you've got to sleep with me. Standards were set in your head. The moment you set your own standards that, you know what, school is to give me skills. School is to expand my knowledge of thinking. School is to help me know how to get ideas. Not a through pass to get me to get a job. I don't have to get a job to be better in my life, but I have to use schools that equips me with skills to find a way on how I can make a living. You can earn a living like we are earning a living through TikTok. People are making millions here as they speak, as I'm speaking here. Who told you that? Nobody. The moment you have got your standards and you know that, I'm in school right now, but it is not a must that I have a job. I don't care about these certificates. I don't care whether I'm going to graduate or not. I care that I have to get knowledge and skills in this course that I'm doing. The course that I have selected, the major that I am in, I must get the skills and knowledge that can put me out there to find an idea that is going to serve a purpose of helping people. And let me tell you the secret of living a life that is successful. If you know how to help people solve their problems, money will not be a problem to you. People sleep with women and men to find a job because they don't know that once you find a way to solve other people's problem, money will not be a problem on your life. Guys, Always Bless is saying, can you guys tap the screen? Yes, we are 56. I think by now we should be getting some 10Ks likes. I think you're doing me injustice. That is an injustice. Can you just be kind enough to tap the screen, guys, so that we can get those likes? What am I trying to say, guys? Find a way to solve people problems. When you are in school, don't accept to be told that after school you'll get a good job. Define your standard. Define your standard. And defining your standard is, how am I going to get out of this school and help people solve a certain problem? When you find a chance, those who are in school, those who went to school, or those who are still in school as we speak, when you find a chance to be in school, put your eyes outside and look around and ask yourself, in my society where I come, what solution can I provide that will give you a job? You don't have to go knocking every other office to find a job. By the way, sooner or later, in the few years to come, those jobs are not going to be there. Somebody's working so hard so that some robotics can replace us. So find a way on how you can solve a problem in the society. I don't want to tell you what to do, but I want you to absorb it and define your standards. Define your standard in terms of relationship. Define your standard in terms of, finances. Define your standards in terms of making associations and friends. Once you understand that, life becomes so easy. Some of us knocked doors. We did knock doors after school. We knocked doors. We walked. Our shoes lost soles, and we couldn't find those jobs. We had to fly out of our countries to look for better pastures out of the country. We left our families way, way far away from here. We live alone just because we needed those jobs. But I'm telling you guys, it took me years to learn that when you find a way to solve people's problems, money doesn't become a problem. And you can be so peaceful without being pushed by somebody. You have to do this, or this project is not done. You can be your own boss within a twinkle of an eye. Find a way to solve people's problem. And I will give you an example. Do you know that where you live, there's somebody who doesn't know how to create videos on TikTok? And do you know, if you repackage yourself well, you can earn by just teaching somebody how to create a video on TikTok? Do you know that where you live, there are people who cannot create email addresses? They cannot create, but they have businesses, and they're supposed to pay PIN to enroll for PIN numbers so that they can post tax returns. Do you know that you can create for people those email addresses and earn from it? What I'm saying is, find the problem around you and get a solution. You will never have a problem with money. Some of us were never told that before. And that's why we are far away from our countries, far away from our families, just because we have to do 8 to 5 or 8 to 4 to be paid. I'm giving you that secret that I learned after a very long time, but I'm giving it to you today and for free. Look around. A lot of people, I even have some of my students who always ask me like, Coach, now what kind of a job can I do? What kind of business can I do? What can I do to get to be my own boss? There's one of them who is here. Sorry, I will not mention your name, but forgive me for using your example. But I can see her. She's here with us. She asked me, Coach, what can I do? I'm not there and I don't know how I can trust people there. And I gave her a very simple thing. I told her, you have money, right? Yes. And you're going home soon, right? Yes. So what you do, go home and buy a piece of land. Once you bought a piece of land, as before you go, do research. How long will it take you again to go back home? Because you're going home now, right? And then once you come, you finish your vacation, 30 days or 60 days, you'll be coming back to wherever you are. Is it that's okay, right? So what you can get that you don't need somebody to be there, that you can trust that is still there, go home, buy a piece of land, and find species of a tree that will be maturing within 2 years. And this is something that personally I did. And I'm still doing to date. Buy a piece of land. Most of the people who come from Africa, you guys know Africa, there's a lot of land. You can just buy a piece of land. Get a species of a tree that can be made or cut into timbers within 2 years. Because remember, you're going home for 30 days or 60 days. And then you're coming back again abroad. And for you to go home again is after 2 years. So once you bought that land and you get the species of a tree that matures after 2 years, you plant those trees. Within 60 days, you will be watering those trees. Find some coins because it's not too much. Leave somebody there to water that trees. Water the trees. Within something like around 6 months, the trees will be stable enough not to be watered again. Tell your parent or your brother that you know what, you can plant some maize or beans in this piece of land. Remember, your trees will be planted, all right? So when they're, Rose, Rose, how are you? Poor sana, Rose. So when these people will be planting maize or maybe beans, the trees will be there. Remember, they'll be using some fertilizers and the rains will be falling and the trees will be growing. Before you know it, the trees will be like some heights above their heights. And they will be taking care of those trees without knowing they're taking care of your trees. Because you'll have allowed them to plant beans or maybe maize within those rows. So they will be taking the care of those trees together as they take care of their crops, whether it is maize or something else. So after 2 years, when you're going back home, you have a forest of timbers. Cut them down and sell. You are doing business. People ask, like, what business can I do? I'm very far. I'm abroad. What can I do? I left business. Personally, when I was leaving home, I left my business. It was trashed to nothing. When I went back home, there was nothing. So something came into my mind. And this is something that I've been doing. And I do it without anyone even knowing that I'm doing it. You have to think twice Being employed is not going to make people's life better. And you guys can see as we are approaching uh, our elderly age, things are changing. Now inflation is everywhere. Nobody's adding people's salaries, but every commodity price is going up everywhere. Right now, I was just driving my car uh, in a small center here in Bahrain, and then I really wondered. I've never seen in Bahrain traffic police, uh, tracking traffic offenses like car park, lights, and everything past 7 p.m. But now, when I was passing by, I saw traffic police giving tickets at 8:30 in the night. That tells you how governments are really trying to get money because of inflation. It's not only in Kenya, it's not only in Africa. Even here in Bahrain, it's happening. No money, governments' wells are running dry. So you have to think, if you don't know what to do, that is an example that I gave to one of my students here. I see she's watching. Go home and do that. You are going home and buying a motorbike. And then when you come back to Bahrain, for example, you leave Bahrain and you go home and you buy a motorbike. And once you come back to Bahrain, the motorbike has been stolen. There's a lady in Saudi Arabia, a Kenyan lady in Saudi Arabia, who bought a Probox. I think December, maybe 2020 or 2020, 21 or 22, something there. Bought a Probox and then hired somebody to to drive the Probox and pay her money, something like that. There was a certain case I saw it on social media here. Amoke somebody, yeah. Amoke, thank you for the gift. And when she traveled back to Saudi Arabia, the driver disappeared with the Probox and has never been seen to date. So invest wisely. Invest wisely. Guys, thank you so much. Always bless. Guys,